The use of English tests constitute about half of the entire reading and use of English exam. They generally come at the beginning, the first 4 exercises of the reading and use of English test, and all of them are the same format, whether you're doing first certificate, advanced or proficiency. They constitute about half of the reading and use of English exam, therefore 20% of your final exam grade. And if you want to put this into some sort of context, every point that you score in the use of English paper is about 0.5% of your final grade. Every point equates to about 0.5%. The use of English part of the exam is looking at your knowledge of vocabulary, which will include phrasal verbs, fixed expressions and idioms, and your knowledge of grammar. In other words, what words mean, semantics, and how correct sentences are structured, or the syntax. They all begin with a multiple choice clause. A short extract, there are 8 spaces. You need to fill the space with a word or phrase chosen from a selection of 4. There's a mark for each correct answer. Always begins with an example. Always worth looking at the example so you get some impression of how the examiner's mind is working. Here's an idea though. Read through without looking at the 4 options in each case and see if a word or phrase occurs to you. Put that in pencil before you look at the 4 options and then start checking through. You'd be surprised how close you are with synonyms even. You may even get the right word. Context is important. The words around the gaps are important. Look at those carefully. There may be prepositions or relative pronouns that will help you find the right answer. A multiple choice clause, followed by the open clause. Again, a similar sized extract, 8 spaces again. You need to put the correct word in, but this time you're given no options. You need to think of the word that's going to go in there. Contractions like don't count as 2 words. Can't use those, you can only use a single word. But possessives are 1 word. This is more a test of sentence structure or syntax than it is vocabulary. You will get tested on vocabulary, but it's more to do with the general meaning of the whole sentence. Answers are going to be simple words, therefore, because you've got to think of them. Auxiliary verbs, connectors, negatives, pronouns, reference words, demonstratives, modifiers, quantifiers. They're all going to be simple words. Again, look at the example. And again, look at the words either side of the space. They're likely to be your best clues. In answering the questions here, imagine you're telling the story to a 6-year-old native English speaker. That's the word that you want, and nothing more complex than that. In terms of strategy, even though this is exercise 2 on the reading and use of English paper, and it immediately follows exercise 1, the multiple choice clause, I recommend you do not do them in that order. You do not follow the multiple choice clause immediately with the open clause. Let me explain why. The multiple choice clause is full of complex word forms and structures. You're given them and you need to choose the correct one. But if you follow that exercise immediately with the open clause, you are taking that complex word mentality into an exercise which requires simple words. You're likely to make the open clause more complex than it is. So either put an exercise in between, you can do the exercises in any order you wish, or reverse the order or something. But don't do the open clause immediately after the multiple choice close. And we come to a word formation. It looks the same. You've got a short extract with 8 spaces. You need to create the word you need now from the word at the end of the line in bold. Number 1, you do need to change the word. You can't use the word as it is. Number 2, there are only 4 types you can choose from: a noun, an adjective, a verb, and an adverb. There are negatives and plurals and all of the interesting differences within each of those groups, but that's it. And the context will tell you whether the noun is plural or singular, whether the adjective is positive or negative, and so on. Look at the example. The examiner may use a prefix or a suffix or both. He may create a verb using the en as a prefix or a suffix. This is what he's asking you to do in the test. Look at the example. And be very careful with spelling, because one small mistake will take away all the good work you've done. You get no points at all. Therefore, run a final check to make sure you've avoided any silly mistakes. The word formation. The final part here, the key word transformation. 6 questions this time, 2 marks each. You're given an origin sentence, a key word, and a partially completed destination sentence, which you must complete using the keyword without changing the keyword and the number of words specified. In first certificate, between 2 and 5 words. In advanced, between 3 and 6, and proficiency using 3 to 8, including the keyword that you were given. There are 3 stages. The first is to deconstruct the origin sentence so that it has meaning for you, so you know what the story is, what is happening, when it's happening, to whom it's happening, who the agent is, who the subject, who the object. You need to picture the story in your mind through a process of deconstruction. Doesn't need to be in English, by the way. Mine tend to be visual. I see the story more than anything else. Whatever you do, understand that origin sentence. Then look at the key word. Now you're in English, because you need to figure out what construct you need. If it was a noun in the original and now it's an adjective, you need to structure the destination answer in a way that reuses that adjective. If the word that you've been given as the keyword has nothing to do with the original sentence, chances are it's going to be a phrasal verb that you need, an idiom, or a fixed expression. Those kinds of structures use vocabulary in a non-intuitive way, but it's a big clue for you. Whatever it is that you need to do, that key word is the key. It unlocks how you're going to structure the missing parts of the destination sentence. And that's the final stage. You reconstruct using the same tense with the same meaning, following the rules, the correct number of words without changing the key word. In all of the exams, there are usually 2 little key tests that you have to answer. You may need to create a phrasal verb over here and then use the preposition correctly over there. That's what you get the 2 points for. And you will only get the 2 points if everything is right. There is some flexibility here because English is very good at expressing the same idea in different ways. But you do need to get all parts of your sentence correct. Even if you know you're not going to get it all right, at least get half of it right. That gets you 1 point of the 2. But don't just leave a blank. Finally, check your work carefully. Make sure you haven't given points away cheaply. It's easy to do. A transposition problem so that you've spelled something incorrectly, or a mismatching a plural subject in a singular verb, don't give points away. You can't afford to. Check your work thoroughly. Only Cambridge run a use of English paper in their exams. The use of English really tests your basic understanding of the nuts and bolts of the language, the mechanics of the language, what makes it work. There is no hiding place in the use of English exercises. Your limitations will be exposed. Hold on to every point. Give nothing away, not without a fight. In this part of the test, it's yours to lose. You've done the work during the year. Imagine that all the points available in the use of English are yours already. You've been working hard for them all year long. Hold your focus. Don't give any of them away, and certainly don't give them away without a fight. Use of English exam is technical. Therefore, it can be improved. You can always improve technique. It requires homework to be done. It requires exercises to be finished. It requires you to go back and see the corrected work and understand why it was wrong and do it better in the future. But this is all technique, and technique can always be improved. Use of English, 20% of the exam, literally yours to give away.